The houses on Maplewood Drive were close enough to hear each other's wind chimes but far enough to keep secrets. It was the kind of street where nothing dramatic ever happened. Lawns were trimmed evenly. Porch lights flicked on at dusk like obedient fireflies. Neighbors waved. Dogs barked at the same mailman every afternoon. The rhythm of the place felt permanent. Until October 14, 1998. That was the night 17-year-old Elena Whitmore left her bedroom light on. And never came back to turn it off. Elena wasn't reckless. She wasn't rebellious. She didn't slam doors or sneak out past midnight. She volunteered at the animal shelter on Saturdays. She worked part-time at Dawson's Grocery. She wrote reminder notes for her mother on the kitchen counter in neat, rounded handwriting. Her father used to say she was predictable in the best possible way. On that Wednesday afternoon, she walked home from school like she always did, headphones on, backpack slung over one shoulder. Mrs. Adler across the street was watering her roses at exactly 4:15 p.m., like clockwork. Elena waved. Mrs. Adler waved back. That detail would stay with her for the rest of her life. Later she would tell police. She smiled at me. Nothing strange. Nothing wrong. At 6:42 p.m., Elena stood in the Whitmore kitchen with her mother, Diane. The argument wasn't explosive. There were no shattered dishes. No screaming. But there was tension. Diane had found something in Elena's jacket while doing laundry, a folded bus schedule with several departure times highlighted in yellow. One-way routes. Are you planning something? Diane asked quietly. Elena didn't look up. It's just options. Options for what? For getting out. The words hung heavy between them. Out of what? Diane pressed. Elena's jaw tightened. This town. This life. Everyone already knows who I am here. I don't even get to decide. You're 17. I know. The conversation ended there. Or at least, Diane thought it did. At 8:03 p.m., Elena texted her best friend Mariah. Do you ever feel like something is about to happen? Mariah responded with a laughing emoji and a joking, like aliens. Elena never replied. At 10:31 p.m., her phone received a call from a prepaid number she'd been communicating with for weeks. The calls were always short. Always late. Never saved under a name. 6 minutes later, Mr. Callahan across the street noticed Elena standing at her bedroom window. Her curtains were open. Her light was on. She wasn't on the phone. She wasn't pacing. She was just standing there. Still. Watching. Mr. Callahan followed her gaze down the quiet street and saw a car parked beneath the maple tree at the end of the block. Dark-colored. Older sedan. Engine off. Lights off. He assumed it belonged to a visitor. He went back inside. At 11:12 p.m., the car was gone. At 6:30 the next morning, Elena's bedroom was empty. The bed was untouched. Her phone sat on the desk. Her wallet was still inside her purse. The window was locked from the inside. Her sneakers were missing. Police arrived at 8:02 a.m. No forced entry. No broken locks. No signs of struggle. It was as if she had stepped outside for air and dissolved into it. The bus schedule Diane had found became central to the investigation. One highlighted route departed at 11:45 p.m. for Oak Ridge City, 2 hours away. Security footage from the bus station showed a hooded girl approaching Gate 4 at 11:38 p.m. She paid cash. Head down. Shoulders slightly hunched. The footage was grainy, flickering. It looked like Elena. But the camera glitched at 11:41 p.m. When it resumed at 12:06 a.m., the bus had already left. There was no passenger listed under Elena's name. The driver didn't remember her. 3 days later, Elena's bank account registered a $240 withdrawal from an ATM in Oak Ridge City at 12:32 a.m. on October 15th. Security footage showed a hooded figure. Taller than Elena. Broader shoulders. Face hidden. But here was the impossible part. The card used for the withdrawal was Elena's debit card. And that debit card was still in her purse at home. 5 days after she disappeared, the Whitmore house phone rang at 2:13 a.m. Diane answered immediately. Silence. Then breathing. Faint. Mechanical. Like someone standing near a running engine. "Hello," she whispered. The breathing continued. Then the line went dead. Phone records traced the call to a payphone outside an abandoned diner in Oak Ridge City. By the time detectives arrived, there were no fingerprints. No witnesses. The payphone was removed 2 weeks later during renovations. Back on Maplewood Drive, heavy rain washed away surface dirt near the maple tree where the car had been parked. Something silver surfaced in the mud. A small heart-shaped charm engraved with the initials EW. Elena's mother recognized it immediately. It had been attached to Elena's bracelet. She never took it off. The clasp hadn't been unclipped. It had been snapped. 2 weeks into the case, Mariah came forward with something she had been too afraid to share. At 9:30 p.m. the night Elena vanished, she'd received another text. "He said he's outside." Mariah had responded. "Who?" There was no reply. Detectives dug deeper into the prepaid phone number that had called Elena at 10:31 p.m. Tower pings placed it within half a mile of Maplewood Drive that night. After midnight, it pinged near Oak Ridge City. By sunrise, it was deactivated permanently. A burner phone. 3 months later, a gas station clerk in Oak Ridge City recognized Elena's face from a news segment. He told police he had seen a girl resembling her arguing with an older man in the parking lot around 12:45 a.m. the night she disappeared. Mid-30s. Dark jacket. Slight limp. The girl looked upset. Angry. Not terrified. The man had said, "You said you were ready." The girl replied, "I changed my mind." Security footage from that night had already been erased. The gas station kept recordings for only 72 hours. Police reviewed men in the region with a noticeable limp. One name surfaced quickly. Thomas Hale. 34 years old. Minor assault history. Owned a dark blue 1992 Ford Taurus. Lived less than 2 miles from Maplewood Drive in 1998. Worked maintenance jobs in Oak Ridge City. He denied knowing Elena. Denied ever speaking to her. Denied being near Maplewood Drive. His phone records placed him within 2 miles of the Whitmore home at 10:20 p.m. that night. He claimed he was driving to clear his head. There wasn't enough evidence to arrest him. No body. No confirmed crime scene. No confession. By 2002, the case went cold. Evidence boxed. Leads exhausted. Thomas Hale moved out of state. The Whitmore house was sold. The new owners repainted Elena's bedroom. They replaced the light fixture. They eventually cut down the maple tree when its roots cracked the sidewalk. The street returned to its rhythm. But Diane Whitmore never did. For months she left Elena's bedroom exactly as it had been. Light on. Curtains open. Shoes missing. She slept on the couch, waiting for the phone to ring again. It never did. Years passed. And then, 14 years later, something surfaced that no one had expected. And it began with a digital artifact buried inside an old storage box. 14 years after Elena Whitmore vanished, the box was almost thrown away. It sat in Diane Whitmore's attic, sealed with brittle packing tape, labeled in faded black marker, E. School. Diane had finally decided to sell the house. The memories had become heavier than the walls. Every creak in the hallway sounded like a footstep that never came. Every flicker of light reminded her of the one Elena left on that night. She carried the box downstairs slowly. Inside were yearbooks, graded essays, ribbon bookmarks, a dried corsage from junior prom. And at the very bottom, wrapped in a soft blue scarf, was Elena's old desktop hard drive. The family computer from 1998 had crashed a year before Elena disappeared. Elena had begged her father not to throw the internal hard drive away. She said it had her writing on it. Her father removed it and stored it. No one ever looked at it again. Until now. Diane almost didn't bother. Technology had changed so much. What could possibly still be on something that old? But grief has a way of whispering, "What if?" long after hope is gone. She brought it to a local computer repair shop in town. The young technician, barely older than Elena had been, said it would take a few days. 3 days later, he called her back. "There's data on it," he said carefully. "A lot of it. Most of it was harmless. School essays, music downloads, half-finished poetry. But there was also something else. A hidden folder. It wasn't obvious. It was buried behind layers of renamed directories and disguised file extensions. The technician only found it because he ran a full recovery scan. Inside the folder were dozens of text documents. All saved under dates. All written late at night. And all describing someone Elena called T. The earliest entry was from September 3, 1998. "He says I'm different from other girls. He says I'm not like this town. He understands me." Another entry, September 19th. "He waits until it's dark to call. Says people wouldn't understand. Says what we have is ours." October 1st. "He says he can show me the world outside Maplewood. Says he can take me somewhere real. I told him I'm scared. He laughed. Not in a mean way. Just like I'm naive." October 12th. "He wants me to leave Wednesday night. He says no one will stop us if we're careful. He says I have to trust him." The final entry was timestamped October 14, 1998. 9:11 p.m. "He's outside. I can see his car from my window. I thought I was ready. I'm not sure anymore. He says it's now or never." The file ended there. Diane couldn't breathe as she read it. She brought everything to detectives immediately. The case was reopened. The T in Elena's writings felt less like coincidence and more like confirmation. Thomas Hale. Investigators dug back into his history. In 1998, he had lived alone. No steady employment. Known to frequent chat rooms in the early days of the internet. Forensics recovered fragments of deleted emails from Elena's hard drive. Most were corrupted, but one partial exchange survived. From Open Road 72. To Elena writes 17. Subject: Soon. You won't regret this. I promise. Wednesday. 10:30. Under the tree. Bring only what you can carry. The account Open Road 72 had long since vanished. But telecom records from 1998 weren't completely gone. An archived ISP log tied the username to a dial-up account registered under a false name. The billing address, however, matched an apartment building Thomas Hale had lived in before moving to Maplewood's outskirts. It wasn't definitive, but it was something. Investigators re-interviewed the gas station clerk from Oak Ridge City. He was older now, memory softened by time, but when shown a photo lineup including a younger Thomas Hale, his finger trembled. "That's him," he said. Quietly. "That's the man she was arguing with." Police located Hale in another state. He was 52 now. Thinner. The limp more pronounced. He agreed to speak voluntarily. He denied everything again. Denied knowing her. Denied the username. Denied being at the gas station. When confronted with the recovered writings, he leaned back and said, "Teenage girls write fantasies all the time." But something in his composure cracked when detectives mentioned the maple tree. He blinked too long. He asked for a lawyer. The problem remained the same as it had in 1998. No body. No confirmed crime scene. No physical evidence tying him directly to Elena. Until a construction crew made a call 2 months later. The old Whitmore house had been demolished to make room for a newer build. While excavating the backyard to install a deeper foundation, workers unearthed something buried nearly 6 feet down near where the maple tree's roots once spread. It wasn't a body. It was a rusted metal toolbox. Inside were items sealed in plastic. A silver bracelet missing its heart-shaped charm. A pair of worn sneakers. And a prepaid flip phone. Forensics confirmed the sneakers belonged to Elena. Her mother identified a small ink stain near the sole from a grocery shift years ago. The bracelet matched the charm found under the tree in 1998. The prepaid phone was the missing piece. Though the battery was long dead, forensic specialists extracted partial call logs from the internal memory. The last outgoing call was placed October 15, 1998, 2:12 a.m., to the Whitmore home phone number. The breathing call. The phone had been buried less than 30 feet from Elena's bedroom window. Which meant one thing. Elena never made it to Oak Ridge City willingly. The ATM withdrawal had been staged. The bus station sighting may have been deliberate misdirection. And the argument at the gas station. Possibly earlier that evening. Possibly a different night altogether. Memory is fragile under pressure. So what really happened? Digital forensic analysis of soil inside the toolbox revealed traces of fibers consistent with the trunk lining of a 1992 Ford Taurus. Investigators obtained a warrant to search Thomas Hale's old property records. Though the vehicle itself had long been scrapped, maintenance receipts from 1999 referenced deep trunk cleaning due to spill. The timeline sharpened. Elena agreed to meet him under the maple tree at 10:30 p.m. She stepped outside quietly, wearing sneakers. She likely intended to leave with him. But something changed. Maybe fear. Maybe realization. Maybe she saw something in him she hadn't before. The gas station clerk's memory echoed. I changed my mind. Detectives believe Elena tried to back out. Tried to return home. And that's when control turned to violence. There were no remains found in the backyard. Which suggests she was never buried there. Only the items were. The toolbox was a trophy. Or insurance. Or both. Search teams began combing wooded areas near Hale's residence from 1998. On the fourth day, cadaver dogs alerted near a shallow depression in a remote clearing 2 miles from his old apartment. Excavation revealed skeletal remains. Dental records confirmed what Diane Whitmore had both feared and known for 14 years. Elena Whitmore had been there all along. Forensic analysis indicated blunt force trauma to the skull. No defensive wounds were evident, suggesting she was caught off guard. Thomas Hale was arrested 3 weeks later. Faced with mounting digital and forensic evidence, he finally spoke. Not a full confession. But enough. He admitted to communicating with her online. Admitted to planning to leave town together. Claimed it was consensual. He said she panicked at the last minute. Threatened to tell her parents. Said she would ruin his life. He described the argument under the maple tree. He claimed he only meant to scare her. He claimed the fatal blow was accidental. The jury didn't agree. He was convicted of second-degree murder. Diane Whitmore sat through every day of the trial. She held Elena's restored bracelet in her hands when the verdict was read. Guilty. But closure is a complicated word. The bedroom light had been turned off long ago. The maple tree was gone. The house no longer stood. And yet sometimes, Diane said she still dreamed of that night. Of Elena standing at the window. Looking down the street. Hesitating. If she had closed the curtains. If she had locked the door twice. If she had stayed inside. 14 years of questions reduced to one irreversible moment. A girl who wanted more than her small town could offer. A man who saw that longing and twisted it into control. And a quiet street that never noticed until it was too late. Some cases go cold. Some never thaw. But sometimes, truth waits patiently in forgotten boxes, buried phones, and digital ghosts. And sometimes, a light left on is not a goodbye. It's a signal, waiting for someone to look closer. If this story moved you, if you believe forgotten victims deserve to be remembered, make sure you subscribe to the channel right now and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into real cold cases. Watch our other crime stories to uncover the truths that time tried to hide. The next case is waiting, and you won't want to miss it.